When was the last time we did this for the
Years
podcast?
ago. I think it was a
Yeah.
couple of years ago. I think. Oh, you know what? The last one we did was Sunjutsu, which came out in.
No,
On a high note, on a high
no,
note.
Was that not the last one?
no. I'm
No,
just
no, no,
joking. That
no.
like, don't make me
Uh,
remember Senjutsu.
The Three Amigos! The Three Amigos!
I love how like we're not supposed to even talk about Maiden. It takes us
We
it
have
takes us 0.5 seconds to talk about Maiden. Yeah, good
so
to see you, boys.
are you telling me that your best '90s albums don't include Maiden?
not a single one.
Yeah,
Not
yeah,
virtual.
not even
Not
Fear.
even in my top three any year.
Not in my top five of any year.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I made a top
But
five.
we're not going to go through your top five every year.
I
That's,
know,
that
I know,
was
I
my
know.
point. Jasper has a top 15 for it.
No, no, no. I just did a top five. Also, like, um, hey, how are you guys doing? Let's start there. JP, Andre, my friends, it's been a while. We've not done a
Yeah.
podcast like this in a long time.
I saw
This
you
is a
last week,
bonus.
but yeah.
This is a bonus little treat for the holidays.
Yeah.
How are you guys doing?
Doing good. Doing good. Feeling festive.
There we go.
Yeah,
I see
right.
JP's
are
got the
flying in
tree up.
tomorrow, so then it's the holidays, so that's good.
Very nice.
You
Very
must be
nice.
ready for your big trip.
Yeah, yeah. By the time people hear this, they will likely know that taking a little break for paternity leave. Interviews will be back on the channel in March. Um, but taking a bit of a break to just have time with family, which is what the holidays is all about. Obviously,
That's
going to do it
awesome.
a little bit longer for partly for our second little boy that was born a few months ago. But awesome. But hey, we're here to talk. For some reason, we felt that this is the right time. 2020, the start of 2026 is the right time to talk about the 90s. I love like the world is looking back on 2025 and we're looking back even further away. But we tend to drink always. JP, I saw that you already were drinking some water with yeast, malt, and hops mixed in with them.
Whatever the name you said, that Belgian beer.
You're having an
Oh.
achel.
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 Achel. I would say Achel in French.
Yeah, but it's from the
Achel.
the Dutch speaking part of Belgium. So
Yeah.
achel.
Yeah, very good. It's very strong though. Woo.
Yeah,
I feel like I'm gonna pick Virtual 11 as my favorite album, and at one point, with all that alcohol.
I only have I have a big bottle, but it's only 5%. I'm having a Holiday Honey from Old Credit Brewing Company, from Mississauga. Port Credit actually. So yeah,
Nice. And Andre is drinking Coors Light.
That's right. That's right. No, I was feeling festive. I got my. This is one of the few times during the year when I buy a lot of Belgian beer because I really love those variety packs. So currently enjoying this little. I'm not even going to bother pronouncing Golden Drac is how I would say it, but I'm
Yep.
sure it's probably incorrect.
No, I mean it's that's the translation of it. You're having a Gulden Draak. But yeah, that's a. They have a couple of different ones. Which one is this one? What's the percentage of that?
This is it says 9,000 quadruple. It's a 10.5%. It's the
There you
bold
go.
one. And once that is done, I'll be moving on to this one's actually my favorite.
Yeah,
I buy this taster pack just simply for this the authentic dark red triple. So that's two
Look at that.
10.5% beers. So this conversation is going to get interesting. To me.
Yeah, after all of that, you're gonna pick Blaze Bailey as your number one singer of the '90s. But
hey,
run around,
I like
run around.
Blaze. I like Blaze.
I am a
Awesome.
big fan of it.
So Andre, you're the instigator of this little reunion show that we're doing. You challenged JP and myself to come up with a list of the best album for every year from the 90s decade. And I guess we're looking at that from 1990 to 1999.
That's right.
What sparked your challenge?
It's not the most original. So I was on YouTube and I saw one of the creators that I follow kind of do a list, and I looked at it and I thought, you know what,
Can
I
do
think we
better.
can do better. And I thought it was a challenge. Not to say his list was fantastic. That was Flight of Icarus from Metal Trenches, but his list was great.
He's a
But
good dude.
I felt that I didn't really agree with a lot of his choices, and I started thinking about it. I'm like, you know what? The '90s is probably the most difficult decade to do a best metal albums list.
Hmm.
So I was kind of curious because I know we always have very varying opinions when it comes to what albums constitute quality. So I wanted to chat with you guys. Plus, I wanted to get online with you. I haven't
Yeah,
seen you in a long time. Well, I've seen you, but not
not in
in
this
a virtual
format.
setting. Yeah.
So what? I mean, I guess we should have had this qualifying conversation before we all did our homework. But what constitutes best album? Because, and the reason why I ask is, um, with some of these albums being well over 30 years old at this point, um, there's two ways of looking at it. Best can be what you like, what you have fun with, what nostalgic, what it brings you back to because we are all, we're older people now. We were teenagers in the 90s, which means that the 90s is like the soundtrack of our coming of age. So there's a lot of nostalgia here at play, right? So we'll be very biased towards certain albums that we just played a lot. So you can look at it that way, but then there's also just, 90s were also transformational for the world of music, the world of hard rock, the world of metal. A lot of things changed, genres died and genres were created, and some of those same genres died again, all within, 10 years. But so you can look at best as in like, the biggest classics, the album that had the most impact, if you will. How did you look at this challenge? Like, were you thinking about like, I need to talk about the album every year that was the most important, or is the biggest, globally accepted as the biggest classic? Or were you like, no, it's like this underground band that I listen to over and over again?
A little bit of both. I did my best to kind of stay away from the millennial nostalgia and the impact that it had on me. You're not going to see any Limp Bizkit on this list, as much as it pains me,
Spoilers.
because it was a big part of it came out at the right time when I was at the right age. But I was thinking these are albums that I didn't necessarily enjoy in the '90s, but albums that came out that I can still enjoy today.
Okay.
I think that was a big prerequisite. I wasn't. This was before music was readily available on the internet, and a lot of these albums
Right,
I
yeah.
heard. I would say most of these albums I heard well into the 2000s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
Okay.
it's
Interesting.
really
JP,
just
you're
looking and thinking, what are some of my favorites,
Yeah.
mixed in with everybody has their guilty pleasures, mixed in with what's actually a quality record. There's a couple of records on here that I don't necessarily enjoy, but I can't deny
right.
how good they are, if you're into that specific style of metal.
Definitely. All right. Cool. JP, I saw you nodding a few times.
No, I agree. It's like, yeah, for me, it's going to be very personal. I'm not going with like, oh, everybody's saying
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
album is the best. It's like, made my list, my own personal list. It doesn't have to be the best. It's more impactful for myself. And then, yeah, what I love, but it's also, when I say for myself, it's really the 45-year-old myself, which
Okay.
is things have changed. As you said, like I was born 1980, so in the 90s, it's really where like the sound that
Everything
I love
happened.
was, everything happened. I discovered the electric guitar, the sound of music that I love today, and then the bands that I love. But things have changed, right? Like new bands came out, and then I went back, and some people said, "Oh, you don't know this album? Listen to this one." And I went back to them, and I was like, "Holy shit! Like, how did I miss that one?" So it's really
Right.
and
Yeah,
like I
yeah.
guess I'm sure Andre and I, for the first year of the we'll talk about it, but 1990, I'm sure we have the same one, and that's an album that I started loving
And it's funny
25
that
years after it came out, because there's a lot of things I didn't love about that band.
All right.
But
Let's just
anyway, and you Jasper, what
let's
were your
like
criteria?
yeah, I mean it's I will say this though. The test of time is important because sure there were albums that I loved as a kid because I mean like both of you it's in the 90s that I discovered, metal and really really started to embrace it very quickly. So some of these albums, the first, in the early 90s, I was born in 1984, so in 1990 I was just 6 years old. Um, I'm not gonna be really an active listener of those albums at that time, but by the time as an early teenager that I really got into metal, and so the second half of the 90s that I was listening to these things, and as they were coming out, I discovered I think most of the albums that I've got on my list already. Um, it especially in the later half of the 90s where albums were, like I said, that I was already listening to this music. I was in the scene when these albums came out. That's even stronger, like I feel like that's also, for example, I know that album came out in 2000, but why Iron Maiden's Brave New World will always be so important to me is because that was the first Maiden album to come out when I was already a Maiden fan. Right, so
Yeah.
I only discovered already became very quickly massively obsessed with Maiden like in the 2 years before that album came out. And so when that album came out, it was like an event, it was like insane. And, all you did for months was to try to get every magazine that had an interview with the band and like, oh, this single was released. Okay, let's go find the single in the record store and like the super exciting times. So that emotion definitely influences my lists. But I also find, with the test of time, it's much easier, I find, to make a short list of what are the greatest albums of a year 30 years ago than, for example, last year. Because the albums that came out, in the last 5, 6, 7 years, they haven't had a chance yet, I guess, to develop a legacy. It's also maybe difficult now because there's so many albums that are coming out compared to 30 years ago. And like, it's hard for me to make a list of less than 20 albums of last year, but it's like, it's almost hard to list 5 albums of 1993, for example, because it's like they have to be really powerful to for me to be like, yeah, okay, they make sense as one of the greatest albums of that year. I think that there's a lot of basic bitchness in my list, the albums that we expect, the ultra classics, although for some years, including 1990, I did make notes of like, oh, this is an album that I expect to be in a lot of people's number 1 spot or like top 5 spot for that year, and for me, just simply isn't. So I've got a few times that something like that happened, and I wonder if you had the same feeling, where you kind of feel like almost this pressure, like a political correctness pressure of like, yeah, of course, in that year we have to choose that album. But I'm just not there yet. So I wanted to see if that's going to happen in this conversation. We'll see where this goes. Shall we
you have
dive
my
in?
curiosity.
Shall we
One
dive
thing
in
that
because we're already ready for 1990? I know exactly which album you guys were talking about.
Of course.
So I'll give you my top
before-
3
before we go into it,
JP is talking about Painkiller Judas. No, maybe not.
sorry, before we go into it, if I can make a reco,
Let's do it.
and this is the exact reason I was kind of thinking about it. I'm like, in the case where we have, we all select the same album, I think everybody has runners up.
Oh, yeah.
Your
Mhm.
Jasper,
Yeah.
probably a whole bunch. I couldn't resist. This was actually a difficult one for me, 1990. But if we have too many
It was a
repetitions,
solid year for metal, 1990, and it's an
maybe we
interesting
can
one
agree.
because 1990, and I think our picks will show that 1990 is like it's on a crux, right? It's like things are changing. It's like the last year, I would say, that like quote unquote traditional heavy metal is like way up there. I mean, right? I was joking, and it would be my number 4 pick for that year. Painkiller of Judas Priest is one of the most celebrated Judas Priest albums in their career, and I'm sure that at the time people wouldn't have realized that when it came out. But now, when we have the luxury of looking back in the bigger scheme of things, it was also like the last hurrah for heavy metal until metal came back in the late 90s, early 2000s with the Brave New World albums and stuff like that, right? Like Painkiller was fantastic. It was kind of like almost like a comeback to form of Judas Priest. And then it was also like over, like, because all of a sudden you've got grunge, you've got thrash metal that had already taken over. Death metal is a thing all of a sudden. So I assume it's not Judas Priest's Painkiller that you have on your number 1. And I'll tell you, my number 1 is your number 1. JP, why don't you tell us?
Rest in Peace, Megadeth.
There you go. I have that too as my number 1 pick.
Masterpiece.
This wasn't a difficult one, I think.
No, it was like, okay, done. There was on my runners up. I have Season of the Abyss by Slayer and Comausul by Creator.
Yeah, so that's already like a good point. So for me, Slayer Season of in the Abyss is like one of those albums where I know it's like revered, but for me, it's just not there. I mean, I love War Ensemble. I personally
love it. It's not a pick that I'm like, oh my god, everybody. That's really a personal.
But I would say that if you look at a lot of people, if you ask a lot of people now, like, oh, what are some of the best albums of those here? I think Seed Abyss will be quite prominently featured. And for me, I like 1 or 2 songs really a lot of the album, but that's kind of it. But Megadeth. Before we bash Slayer, Andre, why? I mean, the 3 of us picked the same album. So why you said it's going to be super easy for 1990. Why is it super easy to pick Rust in Peace?
I mean, this is, for me personally, I've yet to listen to an album that surpasses Rust in Peace. I think I keep going back to it. It's one of those.
Do you mean albums. A Megadeth album, or do you mean an album in general?
I mean an album in general.
Oh, wow.
Wow. It could be because it was one of the first albums that I've heard from Megadeth back in the day, and the impact that it had at the time kind of stuck with me. But I find that anytime I don't know what to listen to, I can put on Rust in Peace and it'll satisfy.
Yeah.
In terms of like, it may not be the greatest album, but I can't think of anything better, especially in the 90s.
Yeah. I mean, it's the
track listing, everything.
It's a good album. It's also like one of the few Megadeth albums that I can listen to without getting annoyed with the things that I don't like about Megadeth. Yeah. Just because the rest is so good. I mean, the playing, the guitar, the intensity is fantastic.
The production too.
The production is great. The cover artwork is good too. Like it's a full package. The only thing that I would say is like it's kind of similar to Judas Priest. It's almost like a bit of a last hurrah, right? Not just of a band, but of a genre. Like it was already not. Is it still thrash? I don't know, right? It was. It's more like an end of an era than it's the start of the 90s. It's the like. Rust in Peace for me is very much the end of the 80s.
And I think that's a lot. That says a lot for a lot of the albums. Like I think in terms of Seasons in the Abyss, because we're talking about Slayer, that was the last true,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say thrash album by Slayer, but if you listen to what
for sure.
Antichrist, Christ Illusion.
That's bad.
It was pretty different. Judas Priest as well. Those were my top 3.
What were your runners up? What did you have as top number 2 and number 3?
So it was Rust in Peace, Seasons, and Painkiller.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have Seasons as well. I love Seasons. Like it's the B-side of Decade of Aggression, and I love it.
Yeah.
Favorite Slayer album.
You, Jasper?
Yeah, like mine. So Megadeth for me, number one. For me, Slayer. I was expecting it to be talked about, but it's not in my top five. I do like Coma of Souls from Creator as well. JP, it would have been my number five, and number four was Painkiller. Number three, I had Cowboys from Hell, just because it's such a transformative album as well, and there's just good stuff on there. People that don't like the stereotypical Pantera that that comes, in 1992 with a vulgar display of power, and when they're like full blown groove metal, like Cowboys was still kind of like a mix of that plus some heavy metal, more classic stuff. But for me, number two, my main runner up, and for me, to be honest, it was not. It was a little harder to like. I mean, I think just Rust in Peace is obviously like also like the legacy. It has the impact, but from an album for me that is very, very close to being the best album of 1990 is maybe a bit more underrated band, Sacred Reich with The American Way. By far my favorite Sacred Reich album. I was a big thrash kid in the 90s. Thrash was my first love when it comes to heavy metal. Yeah, if you like thrash, check out The American Way by Sacred Reich. It's not their most famous album. Doesn't have their biggest hits on it, but definitely my favorite album of theirs. So that's that.
Cool.
All right, shall we move on to I'm gonna say in the world of music, the world of rock, 1991 probably the biggest year for rock in maybe the last 50 years.
But yeah,
You guys are looking at me if I'm talking about bullshit here, but
funny, so
ultra classics came out in 1991, like insane.
I had only two.
I only one, and the second one is a rock one, because yes, it's a massive rock one. It was like, can I?
Okay. So, I mean, we didn't talk about that. Like we asked, what defines best? Are we talking metal only or rock as well?
We can mention your number one has to be metal, and then you can mention the rock ones that you love.
All right,
that's what I would say, but that's up to you guys.
Because it's blurry, right? Like, I mean, what was metal in the 80s is considered classic rock now, right?
And I know Andre is not into rock so much; he's more into metal. So to keep it fair for him,
sounds good.
But yeah,
all right.
I am curious though.
All right, I'll go first. I'll go first. I'll quickly go through my list. Number five, I've got actually a death metal album. I'm not a death metal fan by any means. I love all metal, and I think there's great metal in every genre. I wouldn't say that death metal is my favorite genre, but hard for me to not list Human by Death in this year, which is a really good album. Obviously also, and I know that at least one of you loves this album, Arise by Sepultura came out in 1991, which is a very good album. But I mean, if I'm being honest, and maybe I'm just basic here, but from a rock perspective, like how can we not acknowledge the fact that Nevermind of Nirvana came out, and in my opinion, the better grunge album, 10 by Pearl Jam, which is one of the best albums of all time. But I can't see how you cannot pick the Black Album as the number one album of 1991. Like, this is by far the biggest metal album of all time. And it completely changed the game, and it did one thing that few bands were able to do. Was one of the biggest bands of the late 80s made themselves extremely relevant and accelerated to a next level in the 90s, where every other band that was considered a big metal band in the late 80s almost completely withered away. So for me, I know people will shit on Metallica, but I still love Metallica, and I think that their Black Album has to be the number one album of 1991. There's no competition.
That was my number one as well. Barely edging out No More Tears.
Okay, yeah.
But I honestly, I couldn't think of any other albums that I would consider really exceptional in 1991.
Well, I mean, JP is going to tell us why Sepultura should be number one.
And it is. It's my number one album.
I
Arise is
figured it would
actually
be,
my number
yeah.
one pick. And again, I made it a very personal list. And I discovered that album in 1998, 99, and completely blew me away. I love the track list. I love the production. I love the riffs, the singing. Yeah, for me, it's my number one pick. I didn't even hesitate. Yeah, the only thing that bugs me about the Black Album is like when you say, "Oh, it made Metallica bigger than ever." It's like if you ask 80% of the people at their shows, it's for two songs. Nothing else matters, and Sandman.
Maybe.
And everything else is going to be like, it's too heavy, I can't stand it. But that's my just being very judgy about Metallica.
Yeah. I'm gonna fight you on this one because I mean, so just to be clear, like I didn't just pick Metallica because of the
I know
the insane impact and whatnot. It also just at the time was one of my favorite albums. And when I was a teenager, I loved the Black Album. I will acknowledge that.
My top three.
Yeah, I will acknowledge that I learned about the Black Album because of the radio friendly nature of it before I learned Master of Puppets and Ride the Lightning and Kill 'Em All and Injustice for All. So that definitely opened me up to a different side of Metallica that I love even more. My favorite Metallica album of all time is Ride the Lightning, but I genuinely love the Black Album, and I remember was this 2000, and I want to say 2010, 11, something like that. Metallica played a big festival in Belgium, and they had kind of like their own festival that year, and they played to celebrate. Oh, it must have been 2011, because it was like the 30th anniversary of the Black Album, and they played the whole album. But they did play it back to front because although I think that there's so many good songs on that album, the first two songs of the record, let's forget Nothing Else Matters for a second, are maybe the biggest hits with Sad But True, and so on. And so they played it backwards, which made like the biggest hits at the end of the show. But it is like I would say that a few of these songs are so fantastic and big hits and so well written that the other songs might feel less, but they're still really, really good. It's just some of these songs, Enter Sandman, Sad But True, Nothing Else Matters, The Unforgiven, are just so phenomenally great. But Of Wolf and Man, for example, like those are still really, really good songs. They just pale in comparison maybe to these other songs that opened the album. Anyway, that's my rant about it.
I'm with you. All right. I agree. When I first heard it, it completely blew my 16-year-old mind.
Yeah. I mean, it was also like, let's be real, like it's still like the benchmark for what a greatly produced album sounds like. You know, like when people in the industry say like, oh, you know, it's the Black Album. It's not. They don't mean that really as like, oh, it's the sellout album or whatever. It's the album that just was phenomenally produced with a lot of effort. One of the most expensive albums to make, I think, at the time as well. Anyways, good stuff. But
just going back on your rock grunge comment, in my top three, I know it doesn't qualify, but I had Blood Sugar Sex Magic by the Red Hot Chili Peppers. And it's funny because that's the band I actually don't like. Anything after that album, I can't stand. It's like every time I hear them on the radio, they come to Toronto and I could go to a show for free. I'm like, no, I can't. But that album, it's
They still had some fire there.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Like I can listen to it beginning to end. I love that album. It's like brilliant. Every song. It's funny. I don't listen to songs here and there from that album. Whenever I listen to it, I have to listen to the album.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Every time. And I think it's like 75 minutes because on the vinyl it's like 4 sides. So,
Yeah.
it's
It's
anyway.
I like Californication still, that album. When they had like I think with Californication, they became for a brief moment the biggest band in the world when they had like just this series of 3-4 MTV mega hits. But yeah, Red Hot Chili Peppers, like some of their songs. I've never been the biggest fan. But
So you
yeah, no,
just
it's.
had
I mean, that album is obviously a classic. There's no denying it. And it was also just different, right? Like, and that's the cool thing about the '90s is like we get a lot of different things that we have never heard before, right? So it was an exciting time. It was an exciting time. 1992. Andre went once. I went once. JP, do you want to kick us off with this one?
Did I go? Yeah.
I know exactly which album you're gonna pick.
Yeah, and we had a conversation when we did the podcast about the best album in the '90s, and so yeah, it's the first Rage Against the Machine album. For me, it's like, what's that?
I thought that one didn't qualify.
Yeah, Rodney's opinion doesn't count. Just
sorry. I thought we agreed that.
No, you and Rami agreed the other day at the bar that it was like it's not metal, and I'm like, how the fuck this is not metal? Sorry. This is
kind of walks the line there. It's right on the edge.
I know the riffs.
But that's also that's the essence also of the '90s, especially like this first half of the '90s when there's so much experimentation, like because like all these things are new. Like I mean, there was a time that Red Hot Chili Peppers were considered funk metal, you know, like so it's getting harder and harder, and I'm sure that as we go down the list, you know, we're going to get more and more bands that are like, well, is it metal? Is it not metal?
For me, Rage Against the Machine's riffs are more metal than Limp Bizkit or Linkin Park, if you want to go down that path. So in terms of riffs, the writing of Tom Morello on like Know Your Enemy, Bullet in the Head.
Yeah.
And it's still like they don't have a DJ, they don't have all that shit in. It's like 4 guys, 5 guys, 4 guys. 4 guys, a guitar, bass, like, and they're playing like some heavy stuff. And so anyway, I've talked about that album at length. But
it changed the game, man.
We'll let it slide.
I'll give you my number 2 and 3.
Yes, please.
There's like Images and Words by Dream Theater, and then Countdown by Megadeth. But still, I think it's like very commercial album. So it was a tough year to pick. Like this was like Rage Against the Machine up here, and then I also had like Angel Dust by Faith No More. Doesn't really qualify as metal, but yeah,
it's tough, eh? Like for me, it's almost like, you know, what qualifies and what doesn't qualify. I'm almost like, would it fit on a Hellfest or a Grass Bop? You know, and then it's like, yes, okay, so I'm counting it. I had
Apology at Hellfest the other year.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
and Cypress Hill last year.
Yeah, so a bit of a stretch, but I do agree with you.
Yeah, I also had Rage. I also had Rage in my top 5. I had it. I mean, I for me, 1992, not the greatest. Like out of all these years, maybe my least favorite year. But I have Rage also in there. I like the first Body Count album. You know, I was a young teenager when you get Body Count, and when you have songs like Evil Dick and, you know, Body Count, Body Motherfucking Count. It's like that's all a 12-year-old wants to hear. Urban Discipline of Biohazard. I was a huge hardcore fan in the 90s. So I learned metal through thrash, but I was really stuck for the longest time in the hardcore scene. I also just the local hardcore scene in Antwerp. An album that for me has to be in the runners up that might not get the same attention as some of these bigger classics is Danzig 3, How the Gods Kill. Definitely a great album. But my number 1 album of that year has to be Vulgar Display of Power by Pantera. And I know, JP, that you
hate Pantera. No, I don't hate.
It's just like, I mean, Vulgar Display of Power is like this is actually the first album of like what we now know as Pantera. I mean, Pantera had a bunch of albums in the 80s that were like bad hair metal and some weird power metal shit. And then, because a lot of people think that Cowboys from Hell is their first album, but it's not. It's like their fifth album or something like that. Vulgar was like the first that it was like Phil with his head shaved. It was hard. It was in your face. A ton of like aggressive songs, fucking hostile. But then obviously also Walk. I mean, if they're like Walk is one of the anthems of the 90s for hard music. You know, like you can go to any metal-ish show, and if like the sound booth in between two bands starts playing Walk, doesn't matter if it's a black metal show, doesn't matter if it's a death metal show, doesn't matter if it's a power metal show, everybody knows that song, everybody's starting like going along with it, even if it's a silly song. So for me, Pantera takes that title of album of the year in 1992. But Andre, why am I wrong?
I want to say you're wrong because I enjoy it, but funny enough, while I'm not a Pantera fan by any means, I did select Vulgar Display as well.
Oh, really? That's
This
surprising.
kind of goes back to that whole
Not Dream
it
Theater.
may not be what I like, but I can't deny that it's a fantastic album, and it's probably one of the most important albums of the 90s.
Yeah.
I really wanted to pick Countdown to Extinction because that's really Megadeth's answer to the Black Album, and I hold it in almost as high of a regard. But Vulgar Display is just something else, and I listened to it yesterday just to kind of try and reinforce my feelings. Yeah, you gotta admit it's a pretty damn good album.
But so interesting because I mean, people that have listened to the podcast a few years ago or just know you personally, Andre, they know that you are the prog metal guy of the three of us. You know, you are part of Drift Class, Toronto's premier prog band. Forget like who the fuck is Rush? And like this was a year for Dream Theater as well, right? Why did you not go there?
To be perfectly honest, I forgot. So really, Images and Words isn't one of my favorite. There is some Dream Theater on my list. Images and
Oh
Words.
no.
Oh, I know. I can tell you which one and which year.
I'm sure you can. It's undeniable. It's their best album.
I think we have the same.
Yeah. But honestly, when you said Images and Words, I was like, oh my God, why did I not think of that?
Yeah.
But to be honest, not my favorite Dream Theater album. A little bit not heavy enough for me. I do enjoy it every now and then, but it's not an album I go back to. Countdown just has that really nice mix of accessibility, but still heaviness. It's got that signature Mustaine snarl. The solos are fantastic. There's a couple of tracks on there that, got me through high school. So there is a little bit of a
yeah.
It's funny. Countdown is like, I first didn't want to put it in my top 3, and then I went back to it and thought about it, and we're like, okay, put yourself in the shoes like 20 years ago,
Right.
when you
30
were
years
listening to
ago.
the songs. So, yeah, but when I discovered Megadeth and passed, like, went over his like terrible singing, it's like, okay, you used to really love these songs, just you know them so much by heart, and they're very and a lot of them are very catchy. I was like,
it's a good album.
That annoys me, but I had to put it in my top 3.
Yeah. No, for sure. It's a good album. If I would make a top 10 of that year, I mean, undeniably it would be in there. I mean, it's also a little bit like maybe the last good Megadeth album for a month, right?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe this is the last time we hear that name in this video. We'll find out.
I don't have euthanasia.
Maybe not. Okay, good.
No. I struggle with the number
Risk.
Of course, Risk, the number one.
Yeah.
No,
does that song crush him?
One of my favorites.
Oh man. All right, 1993. Let's keep this thing moving. We're already a third of the way in. I'll go first this time.
Oh, you go first.
Yeah,
because I thought you. It's okay. Go.
I have no. This is Andre's call, really. Like Andre, you choose, man.
No, go ahead, please.
Well, I mean, this is so. I like Arise. I think it's a good album of 1991. I don't think it is better than Metallica or Pearl Jam, but in 1993 for me is the big Sepultura moment with Chaos AD.
Mm.
I think it is the Sepultura album. Really, really good album. Interesting year because for me it's maybe one of the most diverse years. I think we have to acknowledge Carcass with Hard Work, the start really of melodic death metal. I think we have to also acknowledge like the alternative metal rock side with Life of Agony with River Runs Red, which is a fantastic album. But also, hey, all of a sudden, 90s turns goth with Typo Negative, Bloody Kisses. It's a fantastic, fantastic album. And the first sign that, at least in Germany, old school power metal stays alive. Gamma Ray with Insanity and Genius keeps the fire
You were going
burning.
to say Halloween, and I was going to get mad.
No. Halloween has no place in the 90s, I'm afraid. But Gamma Ray kept that alive. I mean, Gamma Ray, basically in the 90s, is what Halloween should have been, with Kai Hansen starting that band after he left Halloween. So very, very eclectic year for me, but an important one. Like, it really shows the diversity of the 90s. But it also shows with Gamma Ray, they had that Insanity and Genius is a great album. And I'm actually friends with the Belgian artist who made the cover artwork for that album, Eric Philippe, who did a lot of great things, including the Ostrogoth Ecstasy and Danger cover art. But it kind of gives us hope for us here, because I think the three of us, at the end of the day, even with the Rage Against the Machine and Sepultura love, at the end of the day, all three of us have a big soft spot for classic heavy metal, just heavy metal and power metal. And I'm just, it wasn't all gone in the 90s. It was there. You just had to go look for it. So diverse list for me. But Chaos AD, I mean, I know a lot of people think Arise is better. JP is not alone in that. But for me, Chaos AD really is where it's at. Like, I think it's the better songs. For me, it's the ultimate Sepultura.
Well, that's the album that got me into Sepultura, and then I went backwards and discovered the remaining.
Arise is more thrashy. Chaos AD is like, that's the groove metal. It starts to come in. Yeah,
between Arise and Roots.
Kind of how we know Sepultura.
Yeah,
and it's funny, we have the same top two.
Okay, interesting.
Carcass, like Sepultura number 1 and Carcass number 2.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, nothing to add.
It's funny. Who's your number 3?
So AGP, where do you stand on? Because I want to say it's one of the most, I don't know what the right word is, but if I have to think about the most ultimate 90s bands, like, for me, Typo Negative would be really up there. It's such a specific band as well. And then for me, Bloody Kisses is maybe like the one that stands out the most. Where do you, because I know, JP, that you love some darker stuff, you like some gothic stuff from time to time. Where do you stand on a Typo Negative?
Yeah, never got into them. I think the production for me was the bigger issue. Like, the sound of the guitars are more like a classic sound of the guitar. Like, if you take like Sepultura, or even like the Rust in Peace for Megadeth, or Creator, or Rage Against the Machine, like, I find there's more industrial sound of electric guitars would bother me. So I actually never got into them. That's my problem. That's the reason why.
Andre, what do you think?
I know one song by Typo Negative. So
really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I tried. I couldn't really get into them. It's not my flavor.
I do find it's like a band where, like, people are either like an insane hardcore fan of that band, or are somewhat indifferent.
It's a very 90s sound.
Oh yeah. That's why I say, like, it's one of, like, if I think of like ultimate 90s bands, they would be up there. Okay, so JP and I are pretty aligned. Andre? I think you're gonna have a very different list than us.
No, actually, the alignment is doesn't stand out. I had Heartwork as my number one. I had Chaos AD as my number three because
Okay.
that's the only album I really enjoyed by Sepultura. And I'm surprised you guys didn't mention it. This was a runner-up just because Heartwork is so good and really kind of sets the stage for melodic death metal, which is such a fantastic genre. But I had Pure Holocaust by Immortal, which I find is one of their best albums. I know At the Heart of Winter is the
Yeah.
kind of magnus opus, but Pure Holocaust.
It is interesting that none of us, because all three of us, people that know us, people that have listened to us before, I think
We love black metal.
know that we're all pretty heavy black metal fans. And it has been interesting to see that, like, I think that we're gonna start seeing some black metal albums soon.
I was gonna say
when like black metal has is elevated to like a more like, you know, supported, but like it's like a lot of those early, or the second wave at least of black metal, right?
Yeah.
I'm not talking about the first wave of black metal, but like second wave of black metal between like 88 and 92. There's like a lot of like, you know, underground stuff that, you know, purists of black metal will say, "Oh, that's the only good black metal," if you will. But interesting to see that none of us have, even that we all love that genre. None of us have chosen that, and that we've all kind of went with like more like mainstream albums so far. Really,
That just shows you how good those albums are.
yeah, I know for sure. I mean, there's a reason why those albums became big
But
classics.
yeah, I'm surprised. I thought you, Jasper, would actually use Pure Holocaust. You like to pull out a couple of the more like non-mainstream, put them more.
Sure, yeah. And I promise there's going to be some more non-mainstream stuff still on my list. But yeah, Pure Holocaust.
For a second.
yeah, same. It's not my favorite.
It's not my favorite. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Love that one.
Anyway.
I guess it's a good introduction to 1994.
Yep,
ready or no?
Let's go straight into it, JP, because I know about which album you have number one. Then
No, I was. It was a tough year. It was a tough decision between number one and number two. But there would be as part of like one and two. I'm still switching between.
I have. Before you go, I'll tell you. I have two black metal albums in my top 5, but I didn't choose a black metal album as my number one.
Okay. I was debating for 94, obviously Emperor.
So good.
In the Night Side Eclipse.
So good.
Obviously.
My runner-up.
Such a good album. Like, and I was debating, but I think Emperor was my number one pick, but then I was debating with Burn My Eyes by Machine Head, but...
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Yeah.
I love Burn My Eyes. I love
that. Doesn't surprise me.
I thought you were in between two black metal albums.
Oh no! Sorry for the confusion. No. It was like Emperor. When I said let's go to 1994, I was saying let's go to Emperor, and like so I would say like no, I don't have a black metal album. As I was just saying, like my number one pick by a hair would be Emperor. And then Burn My Eyes by Machine Head would be like a close second.
I knew you were going to go with Machine Head on that one.
But I didn't. I went with Emperor, but...
Yeah. So Emperor is your top one. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Emperor is my first one.
All right.
And
I know you're a huge Machine Head fan. I'm curious. Emperor was my runner-up, but I do have a soft spot for Balls to Picasso. Now I'm very curious. What's the other black metal album in 1994 that you guys think is so good?
Well, I mean, so for me, Emperor in my top 5. I mean, it's hard to rank him. It's not my number one album of the year, but it's up there. The other black metal album that was officially released in 1994 is Mayhem, De Mistris Dom Satanas. Yeah,
I didn't like that one.
Yeah. I mean, and most of that material was like multiple years older than that, but that's when it was officially released. For me, I also have Balls of Picasso in my top 5. Very uneven, unbalanced album, but just Tears of the Dragon alone for me, you know, it's such a great Great album.
That Spanish guitar and the fact that it was re-released this year, it just
Yeah. But
I think
then,
Firechild is the better song in the album, but that's just
interesting.
me.
Yeah.
I love Firechild. Firechild is like I played any day over Tears of a Dragon.
Yeah, for me, Tears is just. It's also maybe one of the first Bruce solo songs that I really got to know, and I think it has just a special place in my heart. Um, but remember, I was a big hardcore kid, so in my top five is also "Scratch the Surface" by Sick of It All. The grandfathers of New York hardcore, and well, not the grandfathers of New York hardcore, but the grandfathers of the Wall of Death. One of my favorite bands of all time. Band that I've seen so many times in life. It's one of those bands that if they play somewhat close, I will go see. But the album that for me, it's my favorite album of 1994. It's something very, very different. And it's an album that I've played a million times. And, in those days as well, like as a kid, I played over and over and over. Like I have memories playing with Legos and Playmobil for the European kids out there, while listening to that album over and over again, is Born Dead by Body Count. So Body Count, the rap metal combo, the group with under the lead of Ice-T. But Born Dead, that album is just so good for me. Like Body Count, the first album, it's fun, it's silly, it's also bad, but it's like in a good way bad. Body Count for me is a great album. That's that's like easily my favorite album of that year. I just love it so much. I've played it so many times. And Born Dead, the song itself, also is just like was just such a banger. Like back in those days when it was like high school parties, there was like every high school party would go to, whether it was a house party or it was like an organized party or whatever, but every party you'd go to, there was like this half hour that the DJ would play like a rock section for like the kids who like rock, and everything else was like house music or whatever. And like it was Self-Esteem by The Offspring. It was a Metallica song, I'm sure. It was a couple of like those songs that everybody like knew the lyrics to. But then Smells Like Teen Spirit was always one of those songs, and Born Dead was one of those songs in Belgium that
interesting
was always played. So it's that was my number one pick. There you go.
Before we move on to 1995, I have a question for you, Jasper.
Right. We're in the halfway point.
Yeah, you grew up in Belgium.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know? So my number 3 for 1994.
Okay.
Was a Dutch band.
Okay.
Urban Dance Squad.
Oh yeah,
Have you heard of them?
Oh yeah, it's like funk, like a funk, funk hardcore like, metal kind of thing. It's like Rage Against the Machine meets Biohazard meets like they're so good. They're so good. Yeah.
So Persona non grata, their album from 1994.
Yeah.
With like Demagogue and all these songs.
Yeah, Demagogue is their best song.
So that was my number 3 pick. So I knew you would know that, but like when I was reviewing like the songs I listened to when I was younger, I was like, oh my god, Urban Dance Squad. So I figured you would know them because you're like Belgium, they're Dutch.
Yeah, they were pretty big. They were pretty big. Yeah, for sure. Demagogue is, I would say, the classic song of them.
Oh, classic, like biggest song. So anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Should we take a break before we do the last?
I need to grab a new beer anyway.
Yeah, me too.
Pee break and beer break. Okay. All right, we are back with fresh beers and empty bladders. JP, what refreshment did you grab?
Obviously, another Belgian beer.
Obviously.
Golden Carolus.
Yeah, Golden Carolus from Mechelen.
There we go. The way you said it.
Great brewery. If you ever go visit Belgium, you should go to a little town called Mechelen. It's in between Brussels and Antwerp. It's a very beautiful little city. And the brewery itself is a beautiful building, and it's a great restaurant. So it's a good spot. Andre, what? I think you moved on to a pirate beer at this point.
I did. Ailstorm isn't on my menu today, so I had to compensate with a little bit of Pirat.
Pirat.
How do you
Pirat.
pronounce it?
Pirat.
Pirat? Okay.
Pirat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not my favorite, but it fits the tone.
Yeah. Andre is just going for 10+% alcohol beers today, so he's just getting ready for the disappointment that JP and I
At
would
the end of
throw
the
at him.
90s.
Yeah, exactly.
By the time this beer is empty, I'm just going to scrap my list and just make it all Limp Bizkit. Because why not?
There you go. Because why the fuck not? Awesome. Hey, actually, now that we mentioned Limp Bizkit real quick, I mean, I expect that we're gonna have some sort of new metal flavor at some point in our conversation by the end of it. Given that we were all late teenagers or early 20-some olds by the end of that decade, which means that perfect age for the new metal revolution. And I also just know from going to shows with you guys and just knowing you guys that we do have a soft spot for some good new metal. But interesting that none of us in 1994, none of us called out the debut album by Korn, which arguably set off the whole thing. So not into Korn at that time yet in the early 90s.
Never got into Korn, so
I never got into Korn.
All right. Cool. Interesting. All right. 1995 then.
Kick it off.
I'll kick it off. All right. Cool.
Yeah.
I had Gamma Ray at number 2 spot before, but Gamma Ray for me takes the crown in 1995 with Land of the Free, which is a phenomenal album. So for me, it's kind of like the real statement that don't worry, guys, power metal is still alive. It's coming back. It's a more European list for me. I mean, if I look at rock, it's hard to ignore the Smashing Pumpkins. Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness is a beautiful record, but as much as I love the Pumpkins, it did not make my top 5. I also, it was hard to pick my 5. I did not go for Nola of Down, although like that kind of sludgy kind of metal is very 90s as well, and I think that was a big album for the 90s. But for me, close to Gamma Ray is Herzeleid from Rammstein. Industrial metal is one of those 90s genres that I was really big into. This is where I'll throw some more curveballs your way, underground bands. If you've never heard of a band called Godguri, which is like a death doomy kind of thing, check them out. Sea of Dreams was their album in 1995, which is cool. Also, The Gathering, one of and I know that The Gathering was more impactful in Europe, maybe, but if you like anything progressive, even with a bit of a symphonic gothic nature, Mandillion, was their big album in 1995. I think they have better albums later on, but anyway. And then also The Final Experiment by Arian, the first Arian album, which for me set off a whole just journey. So for me, this is the most prog heavy year, if you will, with Godguri, with The Gathering, with Arian. But yeah, no, Rammstein, one of my favorite bands of all time. I'm not afraid to say it, Herzeleid. But the number 1 spot for me, Land of the Free, Gamma Ray. There you go. Tell me why I'm wrong.
I love Rebellion in the Dreamland, which is on that album, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, the album falls flat for me. But that opener is like a phenomenal track. So yeah, it's interesting.
I like it. Anyway,
this was a very challenging year for me. But go ahead, Andre.
Yeah,
you love Rammstein, so
power metal. I actually don't have Rammstein on there. It's a great album, but I had a really hard time with 1995. In terms of Gamma Ray, it's not on my list. I never really experimented with them. I find Stratovarius's Fourth Dimension is the better power metal album of that era. But again, my 1995 is all heavy.
Okay.
It was It was a tough one because I have like basically a 1A, 1B, 1C, and my 1A will have to go to The Gallery by Dark Tranquillity because that
Okay.
is just such a ridiculous album. I absolutely love it. I think that's a lot of people will say Slaughter of the Soul
Mm-hmm.
because that's such a well-regarded album, but I find The Gallery to be the superior one, and that narrowly edged out Symbolic because what a crazy! If you're thinking about progressive death metal,
Right.
that is just beautiful.
Yeah. No,
But yeah, The
it's hard
Gallery
to deny.
will take me places.
Very, we're starting to get very scattered, right? Like it's interesting. In the first few years, we kind of all have a similar choices. It may be like different ranking, but we're getting into this area where we're starting to drift away from each other quite a bit. JP, what do you have?
Yeah, I was gonna say we have very different picks. And so, out of the top three, but my favorite album of 1995, but not metal, is Ballbreaker by AC/DC. For me, it's like back to the roots. I love the track list. I think like there's so many
Interesting.
amazing songs. But yeah, so AC/DC, but again,
Like
not
like
part of my.
like just playing devil's advocate. Like which ones?
Like I love the song Ballbreaker. I love the song Hard as a Rock. I love the song Hail Caesar. I love the song. Yeah, they so like for me Ballbreaker because I don't like the production on the Razor's Age.
Okay.
It's like again too industrial. You don't hear the guitars, and all of a sudden you go back to like a very bluesy, caught with your pants down, whiskey on the rocks. I honestly, it's like Ballbreaker for me is it's one of my favorite AC/DC album
One
because of
of
the
their most
production. It's
one of their most overlooked as well, right? Because I'd say a lot of people will consider AC/DC to be over after Thunderstruck or the Live '92 album, and not come back until Rock and Roll Train or Black Ice.
oh yeah, Stiffer Pearl. Yeah, I love the Ballbreaker. I think it's I love it.
All right, cool. What else do you
Anyways,
have on
that's
your
on
list?
metal. So my number one pick is the Carnival Bazaar by Cathedral.
Oh yes,
I
of course. I should have
That's a
love.
good
known
album.
you were gonna pick that album.
No,
I
but I
didn't
didn't
even
go
think
with.
of that.
I
That's a
didn't
good
even
one.
go with Forest. I didn't even go with Forest of like on other years
Yeah.
because, but the Carnival Bazaar is like more like a Black Sabbath influence album.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Even
100%.
Tony Iommi plays the guitar on one of the tracks. But yeah, I went with the Carnival Bazaar for by Cathedral. I love it. I know Andre is not a fan of the vocals. I sent him the link years ago, and he was like, which is fine, like totally fine. But I know it's like Lee Dorian can be very tricky to listen to on the vocals,
Yeah.
but I love that album. And my number two pick is another doom metal album by Paradise Lost, Draconian Times,
Yeah,
with
that's a
how
classic.
classic, Hallowland, so many good ones. And but yeah, Doomier for me, led by Doom Heavy, led by Cathedral, and then and my third one I had Symbolic by Death.
Yeah. All right, cool,
So
man.
yeah, yeah, we went
Yes, we agree
one
on
went
that.
for like
We went in different.
melodic death, doom, and power metal, like very very different.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Which really speaks to the diversity of the decade.
Oh yeah,
I
absolutely,
find
100%. And
I know
all
we
the picks, especially the ones from JP, very '90s again, right? Like,
yeah.
uh, uh, like the doomy, the death doom part, right? Because like Paradise Lost at those days, that was not the gothic Paradise Lost just yet. So
Mm-hmm.
cool stuff, man. JP, why don't you
It's kind
keep
of weird.
us going for the 1996? Oh, sorry, Andre, you were gonna say something?
Oh, I just wanted to add that just kind of like looking at what we're talking about here and all the different kind of genres and subgenres, rather, I think the 90s is really where it broke out into the diversity
Mm,
of metal. Because if you look at 80s albums, it's thrash or it's classic,
yeah,
and 70s is even less diverse. But 90s is really where all these like subgenres started emerging, which is kind of
yeah,
cool.
exactly. I think we're gonna see. I think we're gonna see a couple of years with a lot of eclectic lists.
Yeah, it's
So
good.
1996 for me was the absolute nightmare. I could not choose an album.
And not because you had so many that you
In a
could
good way or
choose,
a
just
bad
because
way?
you couldn't find one that you liked.
Exactly. And it's funny enough, as much as I listened to Roots 1,000 times when I was when I was 16, 17,
Same.
18, there's one good song on that album.
Two.
And
Come on. 2 songs.
Two. Two. Okay. But yeah, no,
What's the second one?
I said 1996, not Roots.
Oh, yeah.
So Roots is not in my top 3.
Right.
I don't even have a top 3. I had to really scrape the bottom of the barrel. Not saying those albums are bad.
I think you are gonna go like, oh shit, I forgot about that album when Andre and I give my lists. But
probably. I had Dark Saga by Ice Earth.
Oh, yeah.
Great album.
That's my
not a
number one.
huge fan of the band, but it's
not anymore.
No. Even I don't like their whole. I'm not talking. I was just talking about their discography, but I think that album is really, really, really solid. And I had In Flames. I had Just a Race.
Yeah.
They're top 2. You can, depending on the days, it go back and forth. So
yeah.
Well, you said, Andre, that's your number 1 album, Dark Saga?
Dark Saga was my number 1. Just being a huge comic book fan, growing up and being huge into Spawn, this just hits so well, and the music is fantastic. I had that one as my undisputed, and Passage by Samael is the runner-up.
Oh, Samael, forgot about them.
Fantastic album.
Yeah, that's a good one.
What is it? What's
Samael?
the album?
Samael. The album is called Passage. And I was fortunate enough to see them in Toronto, I think about 10, 15 years ago.
They're not around anymore, right?
Mod Club. It was, I think it was an Inertia show. It was
Never heard of it.
3 other people.
Oh, really?
Really sad. But they played Passage in its entirety and part of Ceremony of Opposites.
Oh,
which
cool,
is
man.
another fantastic album that I tried to squeeze into my 1994, but I just didn't have the room.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Right.
Yeah, I never heard of it, so I put it on my must-listen-to list.
Yeah.
They're really interesting band that changed genres multiple times.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I think they're Swiss, from what I remember.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So I've got a bunch of different stuff. So, I mean, simple like Roots. When I first made the list, I was like, I had them in my top 5 because it's Roots and because it's Sepultura, and it was the biggest thing at the time. They were huge, and I remember Roots and Rata Mahata, those were again bangers, and so I eventually put them out of my top 5, but. But boy, what a cultural impact, right? I mean, it was the right album at the right time. And now it's it doesn't really stand the test of time, I would say. But it was just the right album at the right time. And everybody was into that album all of a sudden. Or into that band.
Clip.
Yeah.
And the video clip of Roots, the people dancing and the church.
But it was also it was the start of the second half of the 90s, and tribals were cool all of a sudden, right? Everybody had t-shirts with tribals and shit like that, and Brazil was cool all of a sudden, and Sepultura played a role in that. So I'm gonna say that, although I now also don't think it's one of the best albums anymore, really, it does deserve its props for being such a transformational album. So
at the time,
yes, exactly, right, exactly. So I think it deserves that. Just a Race for me absolutely is there. I'm going to put it on a number 4 or 5 spot. Antichrist Superstar, Marilyn Manson. I mean, I am not a Marilyn Manson fan today. I've kind of walked away from Marilyn Manson for a number of reasons. Music is one of those reasons. But in the 90s, I was a huge Marilyn Manson fan. Huge Marilyn Manson fan. And it was also like, did things differently. And I mean, it was a shock rocker, obviously, but so Antichrist Superstar for me has to be on there. I don't care if it's going to give me shit, but Load for me is up there. It's a great album. It might not be Black Album, might not be Master of Puppets, but it is a good album, and it's a very relevant album again as well. But then,
Is
if
it
I
a metal album?
that's a good question. That's a good question. And then my top two, Cradle of Filth, Dusk and Her Embrace, is a good album.
I'm expecting
Yeah. My number one album, and this is like, again, 1996. I was a hardcore kid. Every weekend I was at hardcore shows. And so for me, Madball, Demonstrating My Style, is the album of the year. I think it's the New York hardcore album of the 90s. And I just, I two-stepped and moshed to that album so many times. So that has to be there.
Interesting.
In 1997, I'm gonna go out on a limb here, and I'm going to predict that all three of us have the same album of the year.
Yeah, no doubt.
And it starts with an A?
What now?
It starts with an A?
It starts with an accident of B. Andre, why don't you go?
I'm surprised by you.
JP, you go first.
No.
Give us
Andre,
a first. Andre.
It's Andre's turn.
Sure. I mean, I think we can all agree Accident of Birth is our number one, so I'll focus on number 2 and 3.
Yeah. Let's all just quickly agree on that. Accident of Birth was the album every Maiden fan wanted Maiden to release, but Bruce Dickinson released it, right?
Absolutely untouchable.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Every song. Okay. Just take a moment to pause on that. How there's not a weak song on that album.
Mm-hmm.
It was Bruce proving a point, and in a way that he has since then, maybe, except for Brave New World, has not done anymore.
Yeah,
like that album and Brave New World for me are my favorite Bruce performances since
ever.
Power Slave.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. Yeah.
Right. All right. Cool. All right. So we all agree Bruce Dickinson, Accident of Birth, album of the year, 1997.
Yeah.
But what is our number 2 pick, or 3, or 4, or 5?
It's I had a 1, 2, 3 punch. Number 1 Runs Away with It. Number 2 is a solid number 2 with Horacle by In Flames, which when I first heard it, I was like, this is Maiden but with extreme vocals. That's it hit so well. I really enjoyed it, and I don't know if you guys are fans of my number 3, but that's Divine Wings of Tragedy by Symphony X, which is,
we do know that you're a Symphony X fan.
Yeah, love those guys, and that was, I think, like right before they went into the more kind of more metal, more kind of mainstream metal era. I think that was the last really progressive album. It's not quite Dream Theater in the sense where it's not as accessible as where it's still accessible, not like too proggy like Dream Theater. And Russell Allen is at his peak. I
mean, Russell Allen is just one of the best singers that this world has ever seen. Yeah, no, for sure. JP,
I can't believe, like, I would love to see a Dream Theater album with Russell on vocals, because that would just be, I'd be in my room with a box of lotion and tissues and don't knock on the door.
Awesome. JP, if we saw you react to Andre's announcement of In Flames.
And then I have to say one thing. We have the exact same number 1, number 2, number 3.
Really? I never took you for a Symphony X fan.
I went to see them last time they were in town, and I love that album.
Okay.
I'm not a big fan of their later work, but that album is phenomenal.
Cool.
I just love it. It's brilliant. There's so much in there. Yeah, so it's hilarious.
Awesome.
Accident of Birth, number one, yeah. And then In Flames, number 2, and then Symphony X, number 3.
So interesting. So on my, I don't have your numbers 2 and 3 in my top 5. And with In Flames, this is not the last we'll see of In Flames for me. Oracle for me is I know it's a highly regarded album, but for me, compared to we just talked about the Jester Race, I think the Jester Race for me is more fun, and I think that the next In Flames album
I know which one you're talking about.
is the better one. Symphony X, I never really took the time to really properly get into. I love Russell Allen though, and I actually got into Russell Allen first and foremost because of Arian, because he was one of the frequent guest vocalist of all these things, and but yeah, no, I mean I definitely appreciate what Symphony X does, but I can't say that they're like my top 5. For me, coming in at also number 1, Accident of Birth, no doubt about it. If I then jump down to my number 5, it's more like the album that I know it's not good necessarily, but it just like at the time was a big hits, and I just had so much fun with it. I don't know if Andre will know this, but JP, I think you will, because this is very European. Guano Apes with Proud Like a God. Remember those guys?
Oh,
we're the lords of the boards, so come and get it on. We're the lords of the boards. Yeah. And it was like Germans.
Japan was a huge favorite line back in the day.
Yeah, so for me, Guano Apes.
In a long time.
I loved that when I was like 16 years old or whatever I was. Deftones, Around the Fur. I am not a Deftones fan, not at all. But Around the Fur was like was a cool album. I am a Life of Agony fan, so for me, Soul Searching Sun of Life of Agony is up there. But then my number 2, and I would say that everything is kind of like here. Accident of Birth is here, but then my number 2 is like here. Sehnsucht, Rammstein.
You're big into Rammstein.
I am big into it. You don't know that? Come on, man! Like
I know, but I thought that like more the 2000 or later stuff, not the earlier stuff. I didn't think you were into the earliest.
I was on board from the get go. So yeah, that was Sehnsucht. Anyway, love that stuff. 2 more years to go, and I have a feeling we're gonna see somebody that we just spoke about again. But not number 1 for me. Here, I'll jump into it. Very diverse list for me. Something's got to give of Agnostic Front has to be in my top 5. I love Agnostic Front. Sorry, JP, but I need to have Follow the Leader by Korn in there. That was Korn at their peak. And I just, loved it at the time. The Chemical Wedding, Bruce Dickinson, it's up there for me. But number 2 for me, Cradle of Filth, Cruelty and the Beast is such a good. I mean, Midian is maybe even better. In the early 2000s, but for me, Cruelty and the Beast is peak Cradle of Filth. And my number 1
pick... Is it the album where they have... Oh, sorry. I was going to ask a question. Is it the album where they have the cover of Hallowed Be Thy Name? No.
No, that's...
I don't remember. Not on the regular track list. It's the album with, like, the lady...
Ghost in the Fog, right?
Her Ghost in the Fog is on Midian. That's the next album, and Dusk and Embrace was the previous album, and this album is with Elizabeth Bathory, like naked in the bath of blood on the cover of the album.
Okay. I was curious. It's an interesting cover of Hallowed.
Yeah. So for me, they've got some. They've done some really good covers. Cradle did a really good on the from the Cradle to the Enslave EP. They did a really good Misfits cover as well. Anyway, I digress.
Yeah, sorry, no, that's me.
Yeah,
I
no, it's
interrupted you before you picked your number one.
no, worse and worse and worse. The anticipation is building, JP. But Cruelty and the Beast, like, is a fantastic album. So for me, my number two. But my number one pick is one of my favorite classic heavy metal albums of all time. A band that has been shat on a lot as well, but adored by people that love classic heavy metal, myself included. Hammerfall, Legacy of Kings, which I think is just a fantastic album. I mean, the title track, Legacy of Kings, is also just like super good. One of the best Hammerfall albums. I love Renegade, the following album as well, but I would say that Legacy of Kings is their masterpiece. So there you go. That's me in 1998. I was mail ordering those albums from Nuclear Blast at the time. Remember those days? You got a catalog sent at your home.
Oh yeah.
And you just you had to fill out a form and then not email. Sorry, what am I saying? Email. Put it in an envelope with a check,
mail.
and then you would get a box with some vinyl and some T-shirts. And oh man, those days! I miss those days.
Oh man, you guys are old.
We are old, Andre.
I'm surprised you don't have Arian into. No, I'm not saying I have it, but
yeah. So for
into the
Electric Castle, I know. For most Arian fans think that's the best one. For me, it's not. I mean, I love that album. Don't get me wrong. Final Experiment for me, I think, is better. But for me, it really happens in 2000 with Arian, with the Dream Sequencer and the Universal Migrator, and then later with the 01 album. But that's much later. So I know that Into the Electric Castle is like an ultra classic for the Arian fans. But for me, I never got into it the same way that I got into the albums that I just listed. So yeah, there we go. JP, Andre, who wants to go?
Go ahead, JP.
Okay, so my number one pick is a late pick in my life, where I had the discovery of being like, holy shit, this is a fantastic album. And I just fucking love it. And might be surprising to the two of you, but I think that the first 6 songs are bangers.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna pick the first System of a Down album.
I was expecting that from you.
I love, Sweet Pea, Needles, Devil, War, No, all of this. And again, I was not big into new metal, but System of a Down was always the band that I enjoyed. I got into obviously Toxicity and all that, and then a few years ago and went back into their first album, and it clicked, in a way where I'm like, Jesus, this is so good. I can bang into all of their songs. I love the vocals. I love the production. I love everything about it. And just seeing them live last September in Toronto was for me the show of the year. Even though I saw the new Maiden show, which was fantastic, but just I didn't expect them to sound so good, be so good, be banger after banger after banger. So I'm not gonna lie, the show I just saw in September just changed my opinion of them. It was they're fucking good. They were so good.
I will just call out one thing, just because I'm an asshole and I need to pick
Spiders.
apart.
Sorry, I forgot to say Spiders.
No, you said that one of your favorite songs on that album was Needles, and Needles is from Toxicity.
Oh, sorry, I meant Spiders. Sorry, is No, Sweet Pea, War, Devil, and Spiders. I meant Spiders instead of Needles.
And Sugar. Yeah, I mean, for me, I like some songs on that album, but it for me, it just completely pales in comparison to what they do on Toxicity. And toxic. Like, I know that we're only talking about the 90s here, but 2001 was insane. Like, because Toxicity is 2001, but so is Iowa of Slipknot, so is Mutter of Rammstein, so is Lateralis of Tool. That was an insane year. But yeah, I like Sugar.
I knew this would be controversial, not controversial, but like the guys would be like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
But which is fine. But it's just like, as I said before in the introduction, it's like just what's impactful to me.
Of
and
course,
it's
of
like,
course.
And then obviously I had Chemical Wedding in my top 3, and then Death, Sound of Perseverance for
Right.
2 or 3. Great album.
Yeah. Now I will say though, like JP, I only had the chance to see System play one show in my entire life, but that was Ozfest 2001, 2002. So that was just on the rush of the Toxicity album, and that show still for me is like one of the best shows I've ever seen in my life. And I never had a chance to see them again afterwards. But yeah, they were, the energy at that show was just insane.
Yeah, it's funny because I was going to go to the show, and I had never, like, I think last time they were in Toronto, I was traveling, and the time before as well, so I always missed them.
Yeah.
And again, I was not big into new metal, but this time I was going to go, and I watched videos on YouTube of them live, and any recording that I could find on YouTube was like, sounded like shit or not great. So I was like,
yeah.
And then they came on stage and like started playing, and I was like, and bangers after bang, and it sounded great. Yeah, they really sounded awesome. So yeah, kudos to them.
For sure. Andre, I think you're going to go in a very different direction here.
No, Chemical Wedding all the way. And
number
something
one?
Wicked.
What a big surprise!
Yeah, that's my number one.
Okay.
I had a hard time with 98. There's only 2 albums that I like from 98. It's that and Something Wicked by Iced Earth.
Yeah. I mean, hey, Iced Earth was great.
That was, that I think was kind of, it was so different from Dark Saga. It was a more kind of accessible, like half the album's kind of rock, half the album's kind of metal, but that Something Wicked trilogy at the end just absolutely solidified the band for me. It was such a big thing, and then they did the kind of homage with Ripper, which really took it to the next level. But that original with Barlow is just a huge standout. I really dig it.
Yeah. No, I mean, it was what a band. I mean, it's just they went, obviously, I mean, books can, and I'm sure will be written about Iced Earth and the journey that band went on. But some phenomenal albums, there's no doubt about it. Like some phenomenal songwriting. Very distinct eras, because of the 3 different singers, but great band for sure.
For me, didn't make it. Yeah, Dark Saga definitely, but different.
Yeah. I think Something Wicked gets overshadowed by Dark Saga just because that album is so good. Burnt Offerings, actually, well, it didn't make
Burnt Offerings. Yeah, there we go.
Well, that was a good one. That I wanted to include it on my list, but I tried to keep it to 3.
Yeah, I mean, it's also like I like the Ripper era as well of Iced Earth, even though it's probably the most like looked down upon era, because Matt and Stu are just like such awesome vocalists for the band. But I think it's a great band, man. Like, it's just sad to see how everything played out, but
unfortunate, but
it is what it is. Yeah, unfortunate. And also, nothing is going to happen there anymore. Like,
I hope not.
That's over.
I don't think anyone wants to play with this guy anymore. But Speaking of Ripper era, actually, Gloria's Burden is a very good album. That
You know what?
Gettysburg trilogy at the
It's
end
hard,
is really
man.
good.
Yeah. The Gettysburg trilogy.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I have
That's the
a.
low point.
It's hard because I was really into Ice Star when that album came out. I had the special edition of that album, and it came with a poster. And I was also like, I mean, I think both of you know that I'm quite into history to begin with, but I've always had this weird fascination with the American Civil War, which is weird because I'm not American. I'm from Belgium, but somehow I was always really, really interested in the American Civil War. And so when this album came out with that EP trilogy of Gettysburg, and the cover art was all about Civil War, so I was really into that album when it came out. But it didn't age well, my friend. Like if you play it now, it's not. Mm, yeah,
Right. Quite a year ago, I agree with you.
it's really not as good as I thought it was when it came out. That's what I'll say about that. But anyway,
I have a similar issue with this album as I do with most Anthrax albums, is where I find the vocal line doesn't match the rhythm.
right, yeah,
And I served this, especially at that time, as such a rhythmic band with that the rhythm guitar, the bass, and the drums really kind of locking in. And then the vocal line has its own kind of thing, and it's kind of trying to carry the song with the melody, with the rhythm in the background, and it doesn't click. But when it does click, for about half the album, it really works. Like,
yeah, for sure.
Declaration Day is such a great song. Obviously, like the Gettysburg trilogy, especially what was that first one that they did?
Isn't it all just called Day 1, Day 2, Day 3, or something like that? I could be wrong, but
No, it does have its own kind of song titles.
yeah. But then you also have songs like When the Eagle Cries, and
Terrible.
and Green Face, and like it's terrible.
Red Baron, Blue Max, it's just terrible.
All right,
Okay,
guys,
we'll keep it positive.
we're at the end of this journey. We're at 1999. I'm curious what we're gonna do here because there's so many albums to pick from in 1999.
It was the hardest year to pick number one for me. Yeah,
maybe you're right. There's one. I'm not gonna give it away, but there's one band that is not in my top 5 that like I kind of expected to be in my top 5, that I kind of expect will be in your top 5. Where it's almost like impossible, I find, to talk about the 90s, later 90s, and not talk about this band. But it just didn't make it for me, so I'm curious to see if it's going to come up. I'll let you guys do your thing, and then I'm going to tell you which band I'm talking about.
JP, you want to kick it off?
So I'm still debating which one I should choose.
It's hard, eh?
No, and the decision is going to be based on the highs of the album reach higher than the other albums. Doesn't mean the album is better, but I would say, like, for me personally. Right. So should I go with their number one, or should I go with like number?
No. Build up. Like, this is the last year. Let's keep the suspense going.
Okay, I'm gonna go with number 3, at the heart of winter by Immortal. But it could be a number 1.
Beautiful album.
Then I have Colony by In Flames, number 2.
Great.
Again,
album.
Could be a number 1.
Yeah.
Like, these ones are like.
It's Colony 99? I thought it was earlier.
No. Colony 99. I have it in my. I have it as well.
At the heart of winter, Colony, and then I have to go with Metropolis Part 2, Scenes from a Memory by Dream Theater. I have to.
Oh wow!
Like, for me, like, I just like. I can play the album beginning to end and just freaking like enjoy every moment, every song, every instrumental part, every riff, every. Yeah, it has. Like, I was debating for days leading up to this call, being like, I can't, but I have to.
It's like, and the funny thing is, we're just three idiots talking about metal. And it's like, no, maybe 10 people will watch this recording, but it would still keep us awake for days on end on like, hey, because it's so important to us. So, okay. Awesome. I will tell you that I only have one of those albums in my top 5.
I know, Colony.
Yeah, of course.
Of course.
Andre, do you want me to go, Andre, or do you want to go?
You go for it. I'll wrap it up after.
All right. So Colony for me is an important one. I think it's one of the best In Flames records. I think it's really good. So it has to be my top 5. An album that I really, really liked, and it's one of those albums that will never, like, it's one of those, how like bands actively try to pretend that certain parts of their history never happened, like, I mean, Maiden is a great example, right? On every 2 years we get a new compilation album, and if they include a Paul Di'Anno or a Blaze song, it's always like the live version with Bruce Dickinson, because according to Iron Maiden, there was only ever one singer of Iron Maiden, or Anthrax that you were mentioning earlier. Like, they really tried to pretend that certain singers never were part of the band. Misfits, Famous Monsters. I love that album so much. It was a bit of a comeback for the Misfits, but with like all they had a couple of reunion shows with Danzig and what have you. So like the era that Michael Graves was the singer has been completely kind of like, let's just pretend it never happened. But it was a really good album. I love that album. So, Saturday, great song. Forbidden Zone, great song. I'm gonna make Andre happy. If I have to pick top 5 albums of 1999. There's no way that a Teenage Jasper does not include Significant Other by Limp Bizkit in that list. Like, I loved that album. Yeah. I played it so many fucking times. Like I said earlier in this conversation, I was hugely into hardcore in the 90s. I started really going into thrash metal and power metal and all kind of good stuff. But when the new metal hit, and I was 16, 17 years old, I was wearing the baggy pants. I had the spiked up hair. I had the Adidas shoes.
Of course you did.
Of course I did.
Send some pictures.
No.
Pictures.
I definitely did not have frosted tips, but everything else was there. Limp Bizkit, absolutely. My number 2 album, became a very big band. This was maybe before they got big. Definitely bigger, I would say, in Europe than in North America. Maybe not. I don't know. Him, Razorblade Romance. Ville Valo is still a very popular solo artist now, the singer, but that album for me was just phenomenal. If you've never listened to it, like a gothic rock kind of thing, but Him became huge in Europe, especially in the UK. For me, number 1, I mean, I love Immortal. I think everybody knows that. I like my black metal, but 1999 for me, Slipknot has to be. The debut album Slipknot, it changed hard music forever. Slipknot is one of those last bands that truly became like a mega band. I mean, the first album I don't think is as good as Iowa, which I think is one of the best albums of the new millennium. I think that's the album where they really like showed the world like, hey, no, we're serious and we are fucking heavy. But Slipknot was like the album that like introduced this weird thing to the world, and it was a good album, man. Surfacing, Spit It Out, Wait and Bleed, Sick. Those are all fantastic songs. So for me, number 1, Slipknot with self-titled album.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that coming.
This is my mainstream, like 1999 for me. It's like a very mainstream year for me, with Slipknot, Him, Limp Bizkit, and then In Flames and Misfits. No, I'm gonna let Andre give his picks first, and if he doesn't mention a band, I'm gonna say like we didn't even talk about this band, this entire conversation, and I'm surprised by that. But go ahead, Andre.
Okay. Now I'm curious what that band is. But JP and I have been copying each other's homework. I do have Scenes from a Memory as number one, and I do have At the Heart of Winter as number three.
Oh,
Yeah,
but you did not have
but
Colony because you were like, "Is that a 1999 album?" So you don't have that one.
for some reason I thought it was 98. But I like Colony. It's a great album. I prefer Clayman.
Yeah,
But there could be only one, and this I find is one of the best albums in the 90s, and that's The Gathering by Testament.
oh fuck
It
yeah.
Oh, yeah,
wasn't good enough
yeah.
to wasn't good enough
I
to overtake Scenes from a Memory, but such an amazing comeback. I find that with the
100%.
Ritual and Demonic, and I know a lot of people like Glow. I'm not a huge fan. I find they kind of faltered in the 90s, as most thrash bands did. But The Gathering just, it took everything that was wrong with Demonic and flipped it upside down. And it's like, oh, you didn't think we could do death metal? Think again.
Yeah,
Beautiful, just incredible. And it really set the tone for what they achieved in the following 20 years.
yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Interesting. I'm
I
shocked you
agree
don't
with
have
you, man.
Scenes from a Memory. Sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, what was that?
No, I just said I'm shocked you don't have Scenes from a Memory by
I
Dream
do. It's my
Theater.
number one.
That's the number one. He said he
Oh, okay.
agrees
So
with
you
you.
said The Gathering.
No,
On
that's his number
Gathering
two.
was number two. I said number one is Scenes. Number three is At the Heart. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
My bad. I misunderstood what you were saying.
You know what?
Yeah, we have the same one, except I have The Gathering instead of Colony.
Okay. Sorry.
You know, The Gathering is a phenomenal album, and just like you said earlier, Andre, maybe I just forgot about it. I don't know, but The Gathering should have been up there. I mean, not in my top one or top two, maybe, but like it's top five material for sure.
It was in my top five.
Yeah.
It was my top five, but just brought up the top three.
And to your point, Andre, like, comeback of the year for sure.
Hmm.
Yeah. All right, so here's
what's the sleeper hit?
what's the sleep? Well, I mean, a sleeper hit. Like, we didn't go for Children of Bottom.
You know what? For me, the only one that like the banger is Follow the Reaper, and it comes in a 2000, or doesn't qualify.
Talking about Hate Breeders, right? Is the 1999. So anyway,
Yeah.
I was surprised because I know that all three of us do appreciate Children of Bottom a lot, right? So
Just the two of us, I think. I don't think Andre is a fan.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan.
All right.
I liked Are You Dead Yet, but the other stuff was just a little bit too keyboard heavy for me.
okay.
For me, the
Funny, which
the
is funny,
irony.
but the irony. Yeah, I find that
Because for people that don't know, Andre is a keyboard player, but right.
who's listening anyway?
I find there's too much of a contrast between the keyboards that he chooses and
Right.
the vocals and the heavy guitars. It doesn't gel for me.
All right.
But great music overall. Like, can't take that away from him.
I just
Situation.
just couldn't put it. I thought about it, but for me, it really starts with Follow the Reaper. It's Are You Dead Yet? Obviously, like phenomenal. These two albums are.
Yeah, for sure. The early 2000s. Right. If we ever do a similar version of this of the 2000s.
Oh my god, it's gonna be so hard.
Yeah, because
The 90s was easier.
I don't even think that Children would make my top fives, like because there's so many good albums in those early 2000s.
Early 2000s is tough. I'm happy to do it if you guys are down, but I'm gonna need some time.
Yeah, take some time, and we'll do it. We'll do it in a few weeks from now, or maybe in a few months from now. Awesome. All right. Well, if you're still watching us at this point, and you're watching this on the YouTube, let us know in comments how we were so wrong. Give us your album of the year for every year, and I'm sure there's going to be albums out there that we just completely forgot about. Like, we didn't talk about Alice in Chains, for example. We didn't talk about Let's see. Who did we not talk? Guns N' Roses. I really thought Andre was going to talk about Guns N'
Me
Roses.
too. Me
I
too.
thought it was going to be
we
Use Your
agreed they're not
Illusion
a
1 or
metal.
2.
I thought we agreed they're not other than Appetite, they're not a metal band. And we
I agree with that.
Is Appetite
Just
metal?
like
Appetite's a metal album, but that's 80s.
Is it metal though?
I think it's like a hair metal.
Right, but okay, is hair metal metal? Like
That's a good point. Yeah, I think Guns N' Roses definitely took hair metal to a more metal sort of level.
it definitely
But
brought
that's me.
quality to hair metal.
That's me. I mean, Skid Row. I found. I'm surprised none of you guys had Slave to the Grind.
A great album, but it was just in a very stacked year.
Yeah.
that's the
same.
problem. Is like,
Yeah.
like 90, 91, 92. I was like easy.
All those 80s bands still had some quality material.
Sorry, what?
All those 80s bands still had some very quality material in the early 90s.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely a decade that a lot of things shift, right? But interesting to see that. Apart from, I mean, I had Human by Def. You guys had Def as well at some point. In a decade that, I mean, at the end of the day, if you look at it, like the 90s was the breakthrough of death metal, really. I mean, obviously the first death metal, is happening in the mid to late 80s. But the 90s was a death metal era, right? Like the early Cryptopsy and Gorguts and all those things, Morbid Angel. And none of us went for that, right?
I
struggled not to
Death
include
album.
Cannibal Corpse in like Tomb of the Mutilated was amazing. But
Yeah.
like you said, it came at a very stacked year.
Yeah.
I have 2 Death album in my top 3, but yeah.
I'm glad you got Sound of Perseverance. That is a great album. I just
Love it.
I couldn't. Yeah. Too
No,
many.
I know it's a tough decision.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's interesting. Yeah, like, no Cannibal Corpse in our list.
I mean, for me, it's like there's 2 songs, 3 songs for each album that I'm gonna like, and then
Yeah. No, interesting. Because like if you were to write an essay on like, the impact of metal or whatever, like what genres kind of like became important. The 90s has a lot of gothic metal, has a lot of black metal, has a lot of death metal. We didn't necessarily go there that often. But it's also our personal tastes, obviously. But I feel like we're pretty rounded people, like we don't stick in one box too much, I would say. Except if it's Accident of Birth by Bruce Dickinson.
But I was gonna go with like Forest of Equilibrium by Cathedral, but it's 1991. So
Right.
It's like there's Rise, there's the Black Album, there's Blood Sugar Sex Magic. As you said, 1991 is like it's loaded with amazing albums. So even though I love that album,
it's a great year. It's you'd have to go back to like, well, I mean, in the 80s, you got 86, 84, 81, 80. They're like insane. Like, I love, like, if you think about the 1980s, if you think of 80, you got Heaven and Hell by Black Sabbath, you've got Iron Maiden, you've got Back in Black, you've got Lightning to the Nations, Wheels of Steel. Like, I mean, it's insane. But it will be interesting to see, like, in like 20, 30 years from now, if it will be that easy also about this year, Because I feel like there's so many subgenres, there's so many albums being released every day or every Friday. It's really hard, like I find in like more recent years, to pick like clear winners, if you will. Although 2025, many people I think seem to agree that Coroner had the album of the year. Testament had a good album too. With Parallel.
Testament was my number 2.
Yeah.
Testament was my number 2.
Coroner, Testament, Black Braid. Great albums.
Black Braid was my number 1.
Yeah, good stuff.
I still listen to it today.
Yeah.
Just, I had to. It's like Yeah, thrash is back, and then
Absolutely, this was the year of thrash. Warbringer was there as well. A couple of other really good thrash albums this year. Because thrash had a bad thrash had a bad decade, if you will.
Yeah.
But death metal has been on.
Warbringer, to be honest.
I find I feel like there's been you've got people that absolutely love the new Warbringer album, and then a lot of people that go like, I'm a little bit disappointed. For me personally, I also like it didn't do for me what the last two albums did.
Yeah.
But then when I was like, because I did this albums of the year poll, right, where people could vote, and JP knows this maybe because he was part of my industry specialist like panel, where I had like 20 people in the industry from bands and labels and so on that could, I worked with them to bring it down to a short list of 20 albums. And I had initially given them a list of 35 or 40 albums to pick from, and they could add albums as well. And in my list, I did not include Warbringer. But a ton of people of that industry panel were like, I need to add Warbringer. So I added Warbringer, and then the top 20 was shared with everybody to vote on, and then few people voted on Warbringer. So it was really interesting to see how the discrepancies.
I found the Destruction album this year to be really good.
Yeah, Birth of Malice, or what was it called?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
But I was surprised because I haven't been impressed by Destruction for a while, and this really took me by surprise.
Yeah, I will always have a soft spot for Destruction in my heart. I do love German thrash a lot. Mm-hmm. But anyway, It's a good year for thrash, and hopefully next year will be as well, because I know all three of us love some thrash metal. JP?
Sodom is coming, I think.
No. Sodom released an album this year.
Out?
Yeah, and they are on a break now. So Sodom is on a hiatus for the time being.
I need to listen to that. Is it any good?
You know what? I don't remember.
I'll judge for myself.
I have to listen to too many albums in this gig. But anyways.
Oh, good night, guys.
Gents, thank you for your time. It was fun.
And some pictures from Belgium.
I will. All right. Let's wrap up this recording first. Thank you all for watching. Let us know in the comments how much you disagree with our picks.
Go easy on us. Go easy. We're old.
We're old and grumpy.
Especially me.
That's true. He's the oldest.
It's true.
All right. Have fun, everyone.
You are awesome for watching this video. Click right here to see more content like it and subscribe to the channel.